بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. Brothers, Jum'ah Mubarak to you and to all brothers and sisters who might be watching us online. عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. I advise myself and all of you to taqwa. Taqwa is the best portion that we can have with ourselves for this world and also for the other one. اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Without wasting time, I would like to begin the topic that we were talking about in the previous sessions, and it is the topic of pleasures. We mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us in this dunya, in this world, in order to get pleasures and prepare our souls for the greater pleasures that have been provided for us in the other life. So Allah is generous. Allah didn't need our creation. We being created, we are not going to add anything to Him, but it is His favor, His kindness. He has created us out of His kindness to give us, to make us happy, to give us pleasures and enjoyments. We in this dunya, we have to prepare our capacity enough to be able to enjoy the great pleasures of that life. So the whole life in this dunya is the process of enjoying and being prepared for the greater enjoyments. Then you will find quite different definition of religion. With this perspective, you will find religion quite different from what has been told us. So we are not going to deprive ourselves. We are going to enjoy and to prepare for the greater enjoyments and pleasures. So the whole life and the whole religion is to know how to manage the pleasures and how to prepare yourself for the greater ones. Of course, there are some small, tiny pleasures that Allah has set up there to see whether you will choose that little ones, that small ones, or you will prepare yourself for more sophisticated ones. You as human being with the faculty that we have been given, we are supposed to choose the higher pleasures. There are some pleasures that anyone can understand, anyone can enjoy. You have to raise yourself, and when you are increased in your level, then you might go beyond those pleasures and achieve greater pleasures. Today they say music even can help the plants to grow, can help the animals to, for example, when they play music for cows, then they give better milk, more milk. So you as a human being, you have been created to not to suffice yourself to the pleasure of music. Music is something that even cows enjoy, plants enjoy. So if you are going to suffice with music, so what is the difference between you and a cow?
Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So the whole life and the religion is the process of managing between the pains and pleasures. To choose, then you have to be selective. You will select according to the level that you have grown. And that is when the religion comes. This is quite different from what we have been told, that you have to believe in God, otherwise you will be punished in the hell. They make you afraid, then you have to worship Allah, because otherwise there is a consequence for that. This is not how religion comes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us to grow. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهَا مِنْ رُوحِي. The soul has been given. فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. Allah didn't need to have a group of people to be punished, to be tortured, that He enjoys. This is a kind of sadism, psychological sickness that, to enjoy when others suffer. Na'uzul, Allah is not like this. Allah has created you for enjoyments, for the pleasures. And this is the purpose of creation. When Allah says, Allah created you because of His mercy, out of His mercy. وَلِذَلَكَ خَلَقَكُمْ. For that, for the mercy He has created. For mercy is not for punishment. Mercy is for make you happy, to make you enjoy. And to enjoy, you have to be prepared for that enjoyments. So the whole religion is the process of engineering the pleasures and the pains. So Allah says you have to enjoy salat. Salat is not something that all people can enjoy. Something that you repeat it. Even the best of things to repeat it 3, 4, 5 times a day, it will become boring. And the pleasure in it is not like a pleasure that you can achieve from eating, from something like a music. So you need to grow, then you enjoy pleasure, you enjoy worshiping, you enjoy your salat. So you see that Urafas say that you cannot reach to perfection unless, for example, when you enjoy something like salat. So salat is a criterion. Do you enjoy salat or not? If you enjoy salat, to enjoy food is not easy, it's not difficult, and it's not a virtue. But enjoying salat is a virtue. Can you enjoy addressing your Creator, the source of perfection, the source of enjoyments or not? This is something. Another point is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, we have created you, and Islam comes with all pleasures and enjoyments. And the Prophet, Imams of Ahlul Bayt, the companions, the true companions of the Prophet, they had such a the life was such full of pleasures and enjoyments for them that Quran says the others felt jealous of them. Now, honestly, if the others are going to look at us today, are they going to feel jealous to see, oh, I wish I had in me that I was instead of them, in their place? Do we enjoy, do we have pleasures out of our religion the way that we are religious or not? Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 109, وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يَرُدُّونَكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ إِيمَانِكُمْ كُفَّارًا. Many of the people of the book, they wish to turn you kuffar, to turn you pagans, after you be mu'min, after having Islam. Why? حَسَدًا مِنْ عِنْدَ أَنفُسِهِمْ. Because of their jealousy. What jealousy they have when they see you, then they cannot stand you being a Muslim, being a believer. You have to have something, then the others feel jealous. When you have nothing, nobody feels jealous of you. When you are in a happiness, when you are in a permanent happiness, when you enjoy life in a way that others cannot enjoy, then they will feel jealous of you. Then, because they are not Muslim, they cannot have that pleasures, then they have this jealousy, this envy that they wish they can tell you non-believers again. Then you are not enjoying religion like them. Like, this is how a jealous person, when he says you have something, when he sees you have something and he doesn't have, He wishes that you don't have, then you're like him, deprived of that pleasure. This is the jealousy. So Allah says, the believers live in a way that the others feel jealous of them. So many believers, Muslims, they should have a pleasure in their life. That the others who are not Muslim, they feel jealous of them. They have to be jealous of them. And as I said, to feel pleasures in your life out of religion, you have to develop yourself. You might have pleasures that others cannot have. Otherwise, if the pleasures are in eating, nobody is going to feel jealous because they can eat. If it's not in drinking, because they can drink. It's not in music because they can listen to music. They can dance. These are the things that they also can have, and they can have it better than you. They can have better food. They can have better cars. They can have better houses. So they don't need to feel jealous of you. They feel jealous of you in that high level of spiritual pleasures that you have and you enjoy, and they cannot have it, and they feel jealous. Then you see, this is how religion comes. There are things that in our lives abandon us from reaching to these pleasures. There are things that help us to reach to these pleasures. We have to know them. We have to know the obstacles. We have to know those elements that help us to get to these pleasures. So one of the things that abandons us from this pleasure is the concept that we have from religion in our minds. The understanding that we have. We need to reconsider all these concepts in our minds. We need to redefine them. For example, what is the concept of sin? How do you define sins? We say sinning is to disobey Allah. Allah commanded us to do something, we disobeyed, so we committed sin. So when I committed sin, who is unhappy here? Allah is unhappy. What about me? No, I'm happy. When I drink, I'm happy. But Allah is unhappy. So I avoid drinking then not to make him upset, not to make him angry. This is our understanding. But the truth is that in committing sins, we are losing. Allah is unhappy because you are hurting yourself. You are not hurting Allah. You are not doing any harm to him. But he is unhappy because you are depriving yourself. You are hurting yourself. In many places, maybe more than 30 places in Quran, in different terms, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings the concept, zalamu anfusahum. They wronged themselves. They hurt themselves. Like for example, in Surah Baqarah, Allah in 57, Allah says, وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. They didn't wrong us, they wronged themselves. This concept has been repeated many times. وَمَا ظَلَمُونَ وَلَكِنْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُم. You're not hurting Allah. So, in sinning, is not like that I am enjoying, Allah doesn't enjoy, so it is haram. No. It is haram because you're hurting yourself, you're depriving yourself from the greater pleasures. وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ إِذْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ جَاءُوكِ. In Surah Nisa, verse 67, Allah says to the Prophet, if they come to you after they wronged themselves, then if you ask apology for them, I will accept answers, and I will respond. If the Prophet does istighfar for you, if the Prophet is shafiq, intercessor for you, interceder for you between you and Allah, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ إِذْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ جَاءُوكِ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا اللَّهَ وَاسْتَغْفَرَ لَهُمُ الرَّسُولُ لَوَجَدُوا اللَّهَ تَوَّابًا رَحِيمًا. Allah says, إِذْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُم. When they oppress themselves, when they wrong themselves, when they hurt themselves, they are not hurting Allah. In Surah A'raf, verse 23, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they said, رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا. Oh Allah, we hurt ourselves. فَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. If you do not forgive us, if you don't show your mercy to us, we are going to be the losers. We are losing the pleasures you provided for us. لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. We are going to be the losers. So, sinning is not making Allah angry, is depriving ourselves from the pleasures provided for us. This is very important. So we have in dua in many places from Imam Ali, from Imam Zainul Abidin, saying, ظَلَمْتُ نَفْسِي فَاغْفِرْ لِي. Oh Allah, I wronged myself, then forgive me. Do not deprive me of what you were supposed to give me. In this salat that it is written here, Salatul Ghufayla, is from Imam al-Sadiq. It's very recommended. Ghufayla comes from ghifla, negligent. This salat is highly recommended, of great value, that shaitan makes you negligent not to perform it. That is called Ghufayla. This verse, you recite a verse here, this is called Zikru Yunusiyya. This zikr is from Yunus alayhi salam, the Prophet Yunus. وَظَنُّونَ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ أَن لَّا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنتَ سُبْحَانَكَ إِنِّي كُنتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. You know the story of Yunus alayhi salam? He preached in his people for a long time. People didn't follow him. Then Allah promised Yunus to punish those people. So the time that the punishment was about to come, those people found out, they heard that punishment is going to come, so they repented. The punishment didn't come, and Yunus was angry. Why you're not punishing them? You were supposed to punish them. Then I could be happy. I would be happy to see them being punished after all they did to me. Then he left the city, ذهب مغاضبا, angry. He was left. He left the city. فظن أن لن نقدر عليه. He thought that he is out of the command. He went into the sea, all the story. Then a big, for us as a fish, maybe a whale, something came to the ship. And it was hurting the ship. It was about to throw it into the sea. They said that this is hungry. We have to put one of these people on the ship into the sea. It eats that person, then he is happy, will leave us free. So they had a lot, and the lottery, they repeated several times. It was Yunus. They put Yunus in the sea. Then it was swallowed by the fish or answers. إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ. Then Allah doesn't mention the story. Not important. This point is important. فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ. This ظُلُمَات is darkness. Allah says, then he called in the darkness. What darkness is this? Darkness apparently is the darkness of the stomach of the fish, but in fact it is the darkness of being far from Allah. فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ أَن لَّا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ. There is no God but you. Subhanak. I was angry, but now you are purified. I confess that you are purified. There was no fault from your side. It was from me. I was expecting these people to be punished at the moment that there was no need for them to be punished. فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ أَن لَّا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ سُبْحَانَكَ. You are purified. إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. I was the one who wronged himself. I was the wrongdoer. I confess. فنادى في الظلمات أن لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. Allah says فاستجبنا له ونجيناه من الغم. We answered his call and we took him out of what? Out of sorrow, out of pain, into the pleasures. وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. This way we will help the believers. So this story is not only for Yunus, this is for all mankind. Because Allah says the same ruling is there. The moment you confess that you wronged yourself, and the moment that you confess that you hurt yourself, then Allah will help you. فَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. The rescue believers the same way. Then, when you find out, when you confess, when you say, Subhanaka, you are purified from what? From what I thought that then I am committing a sin, I am hurting you. No. Zalamtu nafsi. Inni kuntu min al-dhalimin. I hurt myself. When you purify Allah from that wrong concept, and you confess that you hurt yourself, Allah says we will help you the way that we helped you. Or Urafa, they say one of the things that help you a lot in spiritual development is repeating this zikr, especially in sajda. Even out of salah, go to sajda and repeat this verse. Subhanaka la ilaha illa ant inni kuntu min al-dhalimin. Subhanaka la ilaha illa ant inni kuntu min al-dhalimin. I hurt myself. You didn't do it. I wronged myself. I deprived myself from the pleasures, all the spiritual feast you prepared for me. I left them all and I satisfied myself with the muck and mire of this dirty life. إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Then Allah says, this is a promise, I will take your hand. فَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. That is why Allah brings these stories in Quran. These stories are to tell you that I am not mentioning the story of Yunus. This is your own story. Because the same story is for you. كَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. This is for you, for me. So the story of Ibrahim, the story of Nuh, the story of Isa, Yunus, all the prophets being mentioned in Quran is the story of you and me, all of us in our lives. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبا القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
وعلى علي أمير المؤمنين وفاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين والحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة القائم المنتظر المهدي.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
وجرك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك. عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. I advise you and myself to taqwa, and what I am saying about the pleasures, this is the true concept of taqwa. So I said that we need to redefine the concept of sinning. So while we sin, while we commit sins, we are not hurting Allah. We are hurting ourselves. We are depriving ourselves from the pleasures that have been set up for us in this life. And it is interesting that we have it in hadiths that even when you avoid sins for any other reason, even you don't avoid for the sake of Allah, but avoid for other things, just because you are helping yourself, Allah will reward you. I said sinning, you are not hurting Allah, you are hurting yourself. So if you avoid sins even for something, for a material reason, not for the sake of Allah, Allah will help you, Allah will reward you, because sin hurts you. So for any reason you avoid sins, you are going to be rewarded by Allah. It's very, very important point, because we have learned that Allah rewards you when you have a pure intention doing it for the sake of Allah. Imam Ali alayhi salam narrates the hadith. The Prophet said, Prophet of Allah said, "Man taraka al-khamra li Allah, saqahu Allahu min al-rahiq al-makhtum." Anyone who avoids drinking alcohol, wine, for what? By what intention? Any intention except Allah. Maybe you find it harmful, you don't drink. You didn't avoid it for the sake of Allah. You found it illegal. You find it harmful, then you didn't drink. The Prophet said, "Man taraka al-khamra li ghayri Allah, saqahu Allahu min al-rahiq al-makhtum." Allah will drink and serve that person in paradise from the sealed wine, the pure wine which is there. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, فَقَالَ عَلِيٌّ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ. Even if a person eschew it and avoid it not for the sake of Allah, قَالَ نَعَمْ وَاللَّهِ سِيَانَةً لِنَفْسِهِ يَشْكُرُ اللَّهِ. For the sake of Allah, Allah rewards him, يَشْكُرُهُ. Allah thank you, Allah appreciate you because you protected yourself. From what? From sorrows, from pains. Because Allah has created you for pleasures, not for pain. You didn't do it for the sake of Allah, but you protected yourself from difficulties, from pain. Allah rewards you. وَاللَّهِ سِيَانَةً لِنَفْسِهِ يَشْكُرُهُ اللَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ. Allah appreciates because you didn't hurt yourself. The hadith is in the book Al-Faqih, Man La Yahzaruhu Al-Faqih, volume 4, page 353. In another hadith, Imam Ali alayhi salam in Ghurar al-Hikam says, لو لم ينهى الله سبحانه عن محارمه لوجب أن يجتنبها العاقل. Even if Allah didn't make those muharramat haram, there are some sins that are forbidden. Imam Ali says, even if they were not forbidden from Allah's side, it was upon a wise person to avoid them, because they hurt the person. They are not for your advantage. So sins are something that hurts yourself. Committing the sins, we are wronging ourselves. ظَلَمُونَا. Allah says, وَلَكِنْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. They hurt themselves, they wronged themselves. So we need to change our understanding of sins. Sins are not disobeying Allah. Sins are the things Allah mentioned, doing them hurts yourself. That's why Allah doesn't like you to do it, because Allah loves you so much. Because Allah says, do not be pleased with these dirty things. I have provided good things for you. Allah says, I have provided tayyibat for you, pleasing things for you, pure things for you. This is not what you have been created for. This is kufran, this is kufr. You know, kufr has two meanings. One meaning of kufr is to reject Allah. The second meaning of kufr is to be unthankful. This is kufr, this is being unthankful. To be thankful is that to get the proper interest and advantage of what Allah has provided for you. You are a human being. So Allah has created us for pleasures, for maximum pleasures in the life, and we are supposed to struggle in that journey of perfection in order to achieve the maximum pleasures. So, in brief, all people, believers or non-believers, their life is summarized in management and engineering between the pains and the pleasures. And religion comes to tell you in what sense to achieve the greatest pleasures. Another point to bear in mind is that there are some rituals we do. Salat, fasting, pilgrimage. If we do them and we get pleasure out of them, we will be a good servant. But if we do them without getting pleasures, then they could be harmful to us. Those people who perform salat and they don't enjoy their salat, one of the consequences is that they get arrogant, they get selfish. I am performing salat, and those people are not performing salat, they are just enjoying the life. So, consequently, he feels right that I can help them. The Salafi mentality that they always attack others. They are just going to kill others. One of the roots is this, performing salat without enjoying. If I am enjoying salat, if I am a person that takes the greatest pleasure on the earth out of salat, so I don't feel jealous of anyone. So I'm not angry that why I'm performing salat, you're not performing salat. Of course, as a kind person, as a merciful person, you like others to do what you are doing, to share the enjoyment and the pleasure that you have with them. But you don't become difficult with others. When you perform rituals and ibadat without taking pleasure out of them, you feel that fasting is a pain, is hardship. Other rituals are difficult or hardships. I am tolerating them. So why you are not doing that? You are a Muslim, you have to do that. Why you are not doing that? This feeling of jealousy. This jealousy comes when you do not enjoy the salat. Then you become arrogant. I am better than them. Because I am performing salat, they are not performing salat. If one day you brothers are staying here studying and you go and have fun somewhere out, and you come to the school, do you feel jealous of them? You don't feel, because you say, I enjoy, they didn't enjoy. When you enjoy and others do not enjoy, you don't feel jealous, you don't feel angry with others. Even you feel that I owe them something because I enjoyed, they didn't enjoy. You feel pity for them. You show mercy to them. Because you feel that you have enjoyed more portion of pleasures in the life that they have not received. So one of the consequences of worshipping and doing ibadah without getting the pleasure out of it is that you're likely to get into negative, attributes, like being arrogant, like becoming impossible with others, difficult with others, being irritable with others, being peevish, feeling jealous. One of the reasons that usually these people are very harsh with others that they consider them non-believers is that they feel jealous that they enjoy the life the way that you cannot enjoy. If you enjoy ibadah, if you have pleasures in worshipping Allah, in the ibadah that you are doing, you will not be arrogant, you will not feel jealous, you will not be hard with others. So salat and other rituals, when we perform them, we have to perform them in a way that we receive the spiritual pleasures The Prophet said, As-salatu qurbanu kulli taqiyyin. Salat, qurban is something, it's an instrument that makes you close to Allah. When you get close to Allah, when you enjoy being close to Allah, when you enjoy that spiritual pleasures, that instead of being hard with others, you're kind to others. You feel sympathy for others. Like what the Prophet did. Even though they hurt the Prophet a lot, with all the brutalities that they had towards him, at the end he says, Allahumma ahdi qawmi fa innahum la ya'lamun. Oh Allah, do not punish them, they don't know. Don't punish if they are beating you, Prophet, if they are disrespecting you, Prophet. They don't know. This is so kind. This is a person who enjoys what he has. He is a person who enjoys this ibadah that he is doing. So he feels pity for people. He wants them to share this enjoyment, this pleasure with them. Then he becomes rahmatan lil alameen, mercy to all. So this is also an important point, that to worship without getting pleasure, it by itself could be dangerous. Could make us arrogant, to feel that we are better than others. The moment that you feel you are better than others, you are the worst. This is the logic of Quran. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, Iblis, Shaitan worshipped Allah for 6,000 years, and we don't know whether the heavenly years or the years that we have, for 6,000 years, and after that, his ibadah made him arrogant. He said, I am better than him. So it could be dangerous. Istakbara wa aba. He was arrogant and he disobeyed Allah. Why? Because he didn't enjoy his ibadah. But if you enjoy ibadah, ibadah becomes stayed in yourself, then you become abd, servant. Shaitan was abd but was not abd. He was a worshipper, he was not a servant. Allah talking about the angels says, Ibadun mukramun, they were respectful servants of Allah. When Allah commanded them to worship, to prostrate before Adam, not worship, to prostrate before Adam, not only they worship, but even Allah says in Quran that they also, after prostration for Adam, they had dua for Adam to be successful in his mission. Because they are apt. Because when you enjoy ibadah, you feel in debt to Allah and to others. You like others to enjoy. Without enjoying, you will become arrogant. We will become arrogant, and that could be dangerous for us. Like the person that was arrogant, a worshipper who was arrogant, Allah says, on the story, I don't want to get into it, Allah says, فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ. This is the greatest, maybe disrespect Allah, humiliation Allah is bringing for a person in Quran. A worshipper whose worship made him arrogant. You feel better than others. Why? I am not enjoying, they are enjoying. I am depriving myself, they are not depriving, they are enjoying the life. So I am better than them. They owe me. They have to listen to me. Then you become worse. Worse than those people who are sinful. Arrogance is the greatest sin in Quran, Allah says. So worshipping without enjoying it could be dangerous. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't enjoy it, we shouldn't worship if we do not enjoy it. It means that we have to prepare ourselves to enjoy from ibadah. Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Qazi says, when you wake up at the middle of night to worship, if you have a delicious food, for example, you buy some food delicious, do not eat it at day, keep it for the middle of night. Then even your carnal desire is eager to wake up, then you will eat it. This way, you know, he says, bring your soul to be trained. It begins with material pleasures, but gradually gradually it changes. Imam Ali alayhi salam says sometimes you begin something for an intention, but you will end with something different. Then he brings the story of Musa alayhi salam. When he saw the fire in the desert, his wife, the pregnant wife, was cold. Allah says, Quran says, he went to bring fire, but he came back with prophethood. Sometimes you go to get fire, but you come back with prophethood. Imam says sometimes things begin with something simple, but it ends with great things. So begin ibadah at the middle of night with something delicious to eat, with a cup of tea, with a cup of coffee. Prepare yourself to enjoy ibadah as well. And when you taste the enjoyment and the pleasure of ibadah, then you will not enjoy drinking a cup of tea, because you have been drank with the spiritual wines. سَقَاهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ شَرَابًا طَهُورًا. They are waiting for servants of Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all of us to be among those people who get to these great pleasures in the life. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد